The pristine tiles of Ocean, San Francisco's newest luxury restaurant, squeaked beneath my mop as I cleaned the floor, for the third time that evening. Across the empty dining room, my brother Michael's voice rang out. I want every surface spotless for tomorrow's grand opening. Sarah, since you love playing with food so much, you might as well make yourself useful cleaning up after real chefs. I swallowed the sharp retort bubbling up and focused on the rhythmic motion of my mop. Let him think I was just a failure, a sister who had amounted to nothing more than a cleaner. In less than 24 hours, everything would change. Near the bar, Michael and his fiancée, Amanda, admired the designer table settings. Can you believe it? He said, running a hand over a polished wine glass. 10 years ago, this was just a dream. Now, Ocean is about to be the crown jewel of San Francisco's restaurant scene. And Sarah will be scrubbing its toilets, Amanda quipped, adjusting her diamond bracelet. I suppose someone has to. The irony wasn't lost on me. Once upon a time, Michael and I had shared this dream, two siblings obsessed with food, determined to make our mark on the culinary world. But money has a way of revealing people's true colors. 10 years earlier, what do you mean you're using all of Dad's inheritance? I demanded, my hands gripping the edge of our parents' worn kitchen table, the same table where we'd once experimented with recipes for hours on end. Michael smoothed his newly purchased designer tie and sighed. Be reasonable, Sarah. A high-end restaurant in San Francisco takes capital. Dad's inheritance is our best shot. Our shot? That money was supposed to be split between us. We were going to open the restaurant together. His expression hardened. Look, you're a great cook, but this is business. I have the MBA, the connections, the vision. You're just passionate. Tell you what, once Ocean takes off, I'll give you a job. Maybe let you work up to line cook someday. The scrape of my chair against the floor cut through the silence. Keep your job offer. I'll build something of my own. With what? He scoffed. Your half wouldn't even cover the kitchen equipment. Face it, Sarah, you need me. I walked out that night with nothing but my recipes and my determination. Michael got everything, our parents' house, the entire inheritance, and sole ownership of what should have been our shared dream. Present day, Sarah, Michael's sharp voice yanked me back to reality. The VIP bathroom still needs cleaning. Investors will be here in 2 hours. I pushed my cleaning cart past the wall of framed restaurant reviews, each one praising Michael's culinary genius. If only they knew that every signature dish on Ocean's menu had been created in our parents' kitchen, by me. But Michael had overlooked 3 crucial things. First, while he was schmoozing investors and perfecting his public image, I'd spent the last decade mastering the restaurant industry, from farm-to-table sourcing to sustainable food distribution. Second, the recipes he stole weren't the only ones I had created in that old kitchen. And third, most importantly, he hadn't read this month's issue of Forbes, which was about to cause quite a stir at his grand opening. My phone buzzed. A text from Elena, my business partner. Everything ready for tonight? Almost, I replied. Michael has no idea you're one of his VIP investors. Elena, the CEO of Verde Ventures, had been instrumental in turning my small farm-to-table concept into a restaurant empire. While Michael had built one luxury restaurant, I had quietly created a sustainable food network that now supplied half of California's top establishments. The only catch? I had done it all under our mother's maiden name. As far as the culinary world knew, Sarah Chin was the mysterious founder of Terra Restaurants and Farm Fresh Networks, not Sarah Anderson, Michael's failure of a sister. Another text from Elena, Forbes article is live. Investors should be seeing it any minute now. I smirked, already picturing the headline. The Future of Food, How Sarah Chin Built a $1 billion sustainable restaurant empire. The article detailed how I had revolutionized farm-to-table dining, making high-quality food accessible to the average family, the exact opposite of Michael's overpriced, exclusive concept. Sarah, Michael snapped, stop daydreaming and get changed. The guests will be arriving soon. I need you to serve drinks. I set down my mop. Let the show begin. I swapped my cleaner's uniform for the sleek black dress required of Ocean's servers, smoothing the fabric as I watched San Francisco's elite arrive through the kitchen window. Michael moved through the crowd like a maestro, orchestrating admiration with every polished gesture. He guided investors over the imported marble floors, gesturing grandly at the crystal chandeliers, basking in their approval. The menu features my own original creations, I overheard him say to a group of wide-eyed investors. Family recipes, you might say. Family recipes, indeed. I checked my watch, almost time. Elena would be arriving with the other investors soon. And with her, the truth. The truth about those so-called family recipes. The truth about the real culinary genius in the Anderson family. The truth about the sister Michael had dismissed as nothing but a dreamer. The door chimed as another group of investors entered. I straightened my apron, lifted a tray of champagne, and stepped into the dining room, ready to watch 10 years of arrogance come crashing down. The champagne bubbles mirrored the nervous thrill in my stomach as I circulated through Ocean's pre-opening gala. Michael stood near the demonstration kitchen, holding court as his executive chef prepared his signature dish, our grandmother's deconstructed bouillabaisse, the same dish that had won me my first cooking competition at 16. The secret, Michael declared to his audience, swirling a glass of wine in one hand, is in the saffron rouille, a family recipe passed down for generations. I nearly laughed. I remembered every failed batch, every late-night adjustment I'd made in our parents' kitchen while Michael was off at business school. He had once called it too traditional. Now, it was his claim to fame. A voice, smooth and commanding, cut through the conversation. Fascinating. I'd love to hear more about your family's culinary heritage. Elena Chen had arrived. Michael's face lit up in recognition. One of San Francisco's most powerful restaurant investors had just walked into his party. Miss Chen, what an honor. I had no idea you were interested in Ocean. Oh, I'm very interested in family restaurants, Elena replied, accepting a champagne glass from my tray without even glancing at me, especially ones with, let's say, interesting interpretations of family recipes. Before Michael could respond, a ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd, phones buzzed, screens lit up. The Forbes article had gone live. Oh my God, I heard Amanda gasp, clutching her phone, look at this. I didn't need to look, I already knew the headline. The future of food, how Sarah Chen built a billion-dollar sustainable restaurant empire. Michael's forehead creased as he glanced around at the suddenly distracted guests. Chen, he repeated, his voice uncertain. Any relation? Elena's smile sharpened like the edge of a blade. Actually, she said, Sarah Chen is my business partner, she should be here any minute. She turned to me. In fact, isn't that right, Sarah? The champagne tray trembled slightly in my hands as the room fell silent. Michael's eyes locked onto mine, confusion, shock, realization. Sarah, he whispered, what is this? I set the tray down carefully. Hello, brother, I said, surprised to see your cleaner on the cover of Forbes? The room erupted in hushed whispers. Michael's grip tightened around my arm as he dragged me toward the kitchen. What kind of game are you playing? No game, I said, shaking him off. While you were busy stealing our parents' inheritance, and my recipes, I was building something real. He let out a scoff, but I could see the fear creeping in. Your recipes? I created everything on Ocean's menu. Elena stepped forward, phone in hand. Then you won't mind explaining this. She pressed play. A grainy home video flickered to life. There I was, 16 years old, standing in our parents' kitchen, meticulously explaining the technique behind my saffron rouille, the same rouille Michael had just claimed as his own. The date stamp in the corner was unmistakable, 15 years ago. That's nothing, Michael started, but Elena wasn't finished. Oh, we have plenty more, she said, dozens of videos, every signature dish on your menu, created by Sarah, long before you ever set foot in a kitchen. She scrolled through her phone, not to mention the journal where you wrote down her recipes while she was busy building Terra restaurants. Michael's face turned an impressive shade of purple. You can't prove. Actually, I interrupted, stepping closer, we can. His breath hitched. You see, I continued, voice steady, while you were busy taking credit for my work, I was documenting everything, every recipe, every technique, every story behind them. That's what made Terra restaurants a success, authenticity. The kitchen doors burst open. Amanda rushed in, her designer dress slightly askew, panic in her eyes. Michael, she hissed, everyone's leaving, the investors, they're all talking about some farm-to-table empire and stolen recipes. Michael turned back to me, something desperate flickering behind his carefully curated mask. I simply smiled. Let the empire crumble. I almost felt sorry for them. Almost. Your sister, Elena said, her voice smooth but firm, has revolutionized the restaurant industry. Terra Restaurants sources directly from local farms, pays living wages, and makes high-quality food accessible to everyone. She glanced around Ocean's opulent dining room, where crystal chandeliers still glittered above the guests who now whispered amongst themselves. While this, let's just say, overpriced, stolen recipes aren't exactly innovative. Michael opened his mouth, whether to argue or plead, I wasn't sure, but the damage was already done. Through the kitchen windows, I could see his investors filing toward the exit, phones pressed to their ears. Calls to lawyers, financial advisors, damage control teams. The unraveling had begun. I can explain, Michael started, but I shook my head. Don't bother, I said quietly. The truth was always going to come out. I just made sure I was ready when it did. Michael's jaw clenched. Ready for what? To buy Ocean, Elena answered smoothly. Terra Restaurants is expanding, and this location is, well, prime real estate. With some renovations, it'll make the perfect flagship for our fine dining farm-to-table concept. Michael's legs gave out, and he sank onto a nearby prep station, staring blankly at the kitchen where he had once envisioned his rise to culinary fame. You planned this, he whispered. All of it. The cleaning job, the serving. I wanted to see if you'd changed, I admitted. If any part of you, the brother who once shared my dream, was still in there. But you're still the same Michael who stole our inheritance and my recipes. He exhaled shakily. What do you want? Originally? I met his eyes. Revenge. For years, I had imagined this moment. But now that I was standing in the wreckage of Michael's carefully constructed empire, I felt something unexpected. Clarity. I glanced around the kitchen, the same space where we had once dreamed of making food that brought people together. But now? I exhaled, my resolve settling. Now I want to turn this place into something real. Something that would have made Mom and Dad proud. The next few hours blurred into a storm of lawyers, reporters, and stunned staff members learning that their employer's empire had collapsed in a single evening. By midnight, Michael's dream of becoming San Francisco's next celebrity chef had vanished, just like his investors, his reputation, and Amanda, who had already booked a one-way ticket to Miami. 1 month later, Ocean was gone. The pretentious decor had been stripped away, replaced with warm, sustainable materials that reflected the heart of what a restaurant should be. The overpriced, overstylized menu? Gone, too, replaced by dishes that honored real culinary heritage, built on fresh, locally sourced ingredients. Michael had sold under legal pressure, his name erased from the venture entirely. I stood in the newly transformed kitchen, watching my team, our team, prepare for opening night. The wall that once displayed Michael's stolen accolades now showcased photos of our farming partners and the generations of tradition behind our family's recipes. Elena joined me at the pass, her expression expectant. Ready? I picked up a familiar bowl, my grandmother's bouillabaisse, presented simply but perfectly. You know what the real secret ingredient is? I asked. Elena smirked. The saffron rouille? I shook my head. Love. Not for fame. Not for money. But for the joy of feeding people well. As I write this from my office above the restaurant that was almost ocean, I can hear the happy murmur of our first guests savoring the food, discovering what real family recipes taste like. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying what someone else built. It's transforming it into something truly meaningful.